take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Welcome to Life in Red.
Episode 4, Life in Red podcast with my good friend Clarissa Baron. How are you?
Hello! I'm really good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on.
You're very welcome. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really proud of you for doing this.
Aww.
I am. I'm really proud. Like, honestly, I love seeing my friends live out their dreams.
This is my dream. This has been always my dream.
It's a dream.
It's so
one of
fun.
them.
No,
Yeah.
it's great. And I think you coming on is actually pretty awesome because you have a lot of different things going on. One of them, that your car just got smashed in the Starbucks parking lot.
I know. My heart is racing because it's not my car. And it's honestly going to be a really stressful moment after I leave here right now.
Yeah, so we're just going to try to distract you from the fact that the car is damaged and...
and can you swear on this podcast?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
absolutely.
whoever hit me, fuck you. Fuck
so,
you.
Ottawa, that's our job. Find the person who was at Starbucks.
Honestly,
at,
it looks like you just
6:30.
rear-ended my back tire and like something on your car scraped
It literally
mine.
looks...
I think it's a trailer. I think it's a trailer because there was a trailer in the parking lot.
But how would they back... Like,
you know what I mean? Like a little kind of like the ones that have the motorcycle on it. Like, you know what I mean? The baby ones, like the ones that are just like
the ones
the
in the
lawnmowers go on
cartoon?
there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because
okay.
someone had like a mini trailer on their thing, and I was like, whatever, no big deal. Went in, came out. Well, I didn't notice until I got out, and I was like, why is the engine
And it was
on?
probably in the span of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What? And then, you know
And
what?
it's Maryville, and no one cares, so it's fine.
Yeah. And did they leave their insurance?
No, I didn't even notice. I was literally like, well, actually, I was in there for a bit because she didn't know how to make what I wanted. So she was looking at it.
What'd you get?
I got a cold foam hazelnut drink.
No foam, triple...
No, it is foam.
Latte.
Extra foam. It's only foam, essentially.
No whip.
This isn't even a complicated drink.
Sprinkles. I don't
Cold
know.
foam, hazelnut flavored.
I hear actually so many war stories about working at Starbucks from so many people, and
Really?
I don't want to say it's pretentious, but
Like, it's pretentious to work there or pretentious of you to say this?
both.
Okay.
No, but like just the attitude of some people with their drinks, like they just get a coffee, but like I've heard stories of people like being like their lives assaulted and trashed
Oh my
because
gosh.
they didn't make a coffee right.
Well, she asked me, she's like, I put hazelnut in the foam and the coffee. And I was like, okay. She's just like, if it's gross, I'll make it again. And I don't care. I'm not the type of person to be like, yeah, Becky, make it again. Like, no.
Oh,
I wouldn't.
yeah.
I would still drink it and be like, yeah, I love it.
So when you go to a restaurant and they get your food wrong,
Oh my God, I have so much anxiety about it. I've done it. I used to just deal with it. But I've gotten better. I was like, yeah, this has like 17 fruit flies in it. I think we got it back.
there's a cockroach in my soup.
Yeah, it's like really severe.
I
I just eat it, suck it up.
I never wanted to do it, but then have you seen the movie Waiting? It has like Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, I love that movie where they do all those gross things.
Fabulous movie, but yeah, like when that person's like so snooty, like even if I'm nice, I'm like, no, they're gonna like rub
in
their
your
balls
food.
in it and spit in it and ball hair and no, like if I'm
You
like,
can reuse that sound effect.
but you get that argument where it's like, well, you paid for it, so you should write. It's like, yeah, but I don't want to be that person.
What's
I
your
can't be
stance
that
on
person.
tipping?
Always tip. Always
Always
tip.
tip your servers, even though they make more than me. Thank you.
Yeah, always tip. I heard now apparently it's like at 25 to 30%.
Sorry, excuse me for like a tip?
Yeah.
No,
And,
that's never happening.
yeah, I'm kind of like, look, I respect that and you need to tip out, but like inflation restaurant people.
Yeah. Also,
That's
like,
too much.
yeah.
I'm not tipping like 3/4 of my meal. Like that's
No, it's outrageous too. And what if they're bad servers?
That's the thing. And
What if they just don't care? They know that you're gonna tip regardless because we're nice Canadians.
Yeah, there's no way, like, and people have gotten mad at me for this, but I have like tiers. Like if you're like really great, I'll tip above 20.
Yeah, of
If
course.
you do everything, I'm happy 20%. But like if you're just average, you do all your jobs, but you're not real friendly.
If you're average, I really didn't like the service. It took like I was in there for 3 hours. I was waiting for like 10.
Yeah.
No shame.
Yeah, 10 is
And
I'm
if you're
pretty much
rude,
is the lowest.
okay, I actually have tip 0 a couple of times in the instance where the server was just like rude or like definitely racist.
Racist?
Yeah. So I'm not going to say anything about the establishments. I don't want that to go out there. But I have, and also discriminatory because my mom is disabled. So she has the use of one arm only. She still has her other arm, but it's disabled and it's kind of like fused with the shoulder, so she can't really use it, and it's paralyzed. So sometimes she'll be like, can you please put this on a tray, something that wouldn't normally need a tray, like, I don't know, like a drink and a burger, right? And so they're like, okay, but sometimes they're just super weird about it and rude, and it's just like,
yeah,
I don't
and
know.
You don't, like, she doesn't have to be like, I'm disabled.
That was
Do
a
it for
terrible
me.
example, but at the same time, it's hard to think of one specifically. But there's definitely people, or like she's had her knives taken away. She can't cut with, like, she can't hold her fork and cut.
Yeah.
So she has a specific rocking knife, and she's had it taken away at restaurants where people are like, ma'am, you can't use that here. That's like a weapon, like in airports and stuff. It's insane. So, yeah, it's seriously, yeah.
Oh, there we
stuff that
go.
we never think about, right?
Yeah, seriously. I remember, I've never had racist waiter or waitress or
Oh yeah, I've had
server
people
now.
straight up not serve me and my friends, and I was like,
Yeah, there was a time we were in Montreal with my friends. We were there for a concert, and we went out for dinner, and like the server was like horrible, and we were young. We were like,
Oh my
I think
gosh.
like 2 of us were like 18, and then the rest of us must have been 21. So we were young, and young people always get a bad rap at restaurants anyway.
Totally.
And like he sat us down, didn't see us for like 40 minutes. So we go up to another guy and we're like, hey, like, do you mind getting us some drinks? He's like, looks around. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. So he brings us the drinks, and the other guy just comes up, what do you want? Takes it down, takes another like 35 minutes. Like that was, anyway, just horrible. We had to keep asking this other guy serving other tables to help us. We're like, oh, I'm so sorry, but like, we haven't seen our server in like 35
he's just
minutes.
over it. He's having a really bad day.
Could be, yeah.
Nothing
but
to do with you guys.
I tipped him like a dime.
Yeah, just to say.
That was the only time I've ever stiffed anyone.
It's so
but
weird.
you were
It's
terrible.
such a power dynamic, the whole tipping culture. Because I just came back from Thailand and they don't tip there, right? That's really weird for me. I was like, okay, you just gave me this amazing meal. It's $10 Canadian. I have like a coconut water, actual in a coconut, some like Bubba pig thing. It's like roasted. It's amazing. Like a plate full of vegetables and rice. $10. Don't tip. What?
Did you tip anyway?
I tipped anyway, and a lot of times I tipped on like excursions and stuff
Yeah.
because these people are their livelihoods. Something really cool. So we did a volcano hike in Bali in Mount Batur, and first of all, hiking's hard. Like what? I'm like, this is gonna be a breeze. I had to take so many breaks. I was like, you are
Well,
out of shape.
I think it's like there's Gatineau Hills, and then there's volcanoes.
Yeah, there's Gatineau Hills and then there's volcanoes. And I'm like, okay. So we were like, let's do this sunrise hike, watch the sunrise in the morning. It's going to be amazing. So we wake up at like literally 2 a.m., take an hour bus ride. This is Indonesia. This is Bali, Indonesia. We're driving in the middle of the night. It's like winding. These people are speeding. And this is a very popular tourist thing, okay? So we get there, it's like dark, we're fitted up with this other couple, a German dude and another Thai lady who definitely met on vacation. Like, it's a German guy who was backpacking and he met this lady in Thailand and it was just like, come along. So that's their relationship. And I was very like open about it. I was like, did you guys meet just like a week ago? And they're like, yeah, thanks for asking. I was like, sick. So we start this tour and our guide is a local, right? And I was like, how often do you do this? And he goes, 6 days a week.
Oh my! Is his like calves and
He
just
hikes
jacked?
the mountain. Sorry, volcano, 6 days a week, okay? And I'm like, okay, wow, you're the fittest person I've ever met. And it's not like it's an easy hike. It's
Yeah.
3.5 hours.
Just like
on average.
walking on tree trunks. Just
Yeah, no, and like dust and rocks. Like there's a part where you're literally climbing and you're trying not to die. So there's that. So we were going, okay, and so the one girl, the one Thai girl we were with, she's a little overweight. And my brother was freaking out. He's like, what if we miss the sunset? I was like, okay, this is...
because you had to wait. You had to wait.
He was so concerned we were going to miss the sunset, and she was giving up. We were like 20 minutes in, still on flatland. She's like, I can't do it. I was like, we haven't even reached the mountain yet. We're still on the road. Yeah. Or sorry, volcano. I keep it's called Mount Batur, but it's a volcano.
I think
That's a language barrier problem, I think. Anyway, so we start climbing this mountain, whatever. She gives up. Long story short, she pays like $30 Canadian to take a motorcycle up most of the way.
Oh my god.
So that's great. Problem solved. Another little bit on the way is our guide, okay? The entire bottom of his sole just peeled off. Like, you know how you have the rubber sole on the shoe? It just peeled off. So he just had like the fabric part of his shoe, and he's just like,
so no cushion.
I was like, do we need to stop? Like, do we turn back? And he's like, no, this happens all the time. And he proceeds to rip off the other sole of the shoe.
Just go barefoot.
It was the most hardcore thing I've ever seen. No, he just left his shoes on, but he like, and then just continued climbing the mountain. And his pace was so fast. I was like, dude, you need to slow down. Okay, I got tiny legs and this is hard.
Yeah, I'm out of breath.
Anyway, he was awesome. We were teaching him like English words on the way up, and it was a magical time. Like, I can't believe this guy does this every day. It was beautiful. We watched the sunrise. Magical. Got to touch volcano steam and whatever. Anyway, so we go down the mountain and we're like basically running because it's so steep. It's easier to run. And we're like teaching him like what route means, like in English and stuff. And he's like, "What's this?" Like pointing to stuff, and we're teaching him. And we're just like wondering about his life. And apparently it's like a tier system. So the guy who picked us up from the hotel or the hostel was actually doing his job at one point. And so like when you get promoted, you no longer hike the Mount Batur. You drive people in the morning. So it's kind of like the family business there. And it's so crazy. Like, even driving on the way back, you get to see where they live. And they eat mostly vegetarian by growing their own vegetables. It's insane to see their way of life. And we tipped him, like, a decent sum of money. And we were like, you were an amazing guide. I can't believe we got to meet you. He took also, most importantly, he took amazing photos. Like, he just knew what he was doing. It was insane.
Oh, if he does that 6 days a week.
He's amazing.
In Instagram culture.
Yeah, like... he knows. He's like, you want to move a little bit to the right? And I was like, yeah, okay. Perfect. And and so we tipped him, and he's like super grateful because that, I'm sure, I don't know if everyone tips or just realizes what they do for a living. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know
seriously, because
what I mean?
like you're just like, oh yeah, doing this
and that's
once.
not the end of his day. He goes home and he works on the farm and like,
oh my god,
it's insane. Honestly, it's humbling.
I think
Oh, that was my tipping. We're coming full circle.
Yeah, there. A funny story. When I went to Europe last year, no one told me that they actually make an adequate wage, so you don't have to tip. Yeah. So we were tipping like 20-25%. Yeah. And like they would like bring us candies, and they were so happy. Come back anytime. Like, just so stoked. Like, oh man, it's so nice here. And when I got back and talking to people, they're like, oh, you don't have to tip there. I'm like,
man, Europeans have a great way of life. They just don't care, and like you can work at any job and live comfortably, and you get tons of vacation. It's insane.
Yeah, friggin' people in the Netherlands, like just all they do is ride bikes everywhere. Like there was like
Holland,
no cars.
Just watch out, just bikes everywhere.
Oh,
I've never been. This is what I've heard.
Yeah, no, like when you're in Amsterdam, you literally like have to like watch where you're going, not for cars, but on bike paths, because like they don't do bells or anything. It's just, and they're like weaving in and out, and it's crazy. And I think why traveling is so big for millennials, I guess, and mostly because like you get to experience so many different ways of life that are so outside your own, and that way you don't end up being that person on Facebook commenting on stupid stuff like everything.
Yeah, they're trying. I
feel like those are the people who don't travel.
I think it's interesting to be for sure. Those people or don't want to. Like, there's something like 50% of Americans don't even have a passport.
Wow.
Yeah, Google it. It's a fact. That's probably wrong. But...
America's the greatest.
America!
No, it's and there was that thing I posted last night, and like
don't you want to never post something again once it gets like a lot of traction?
Yeah, you're seriously. But that APTN show coming up,
that is so
free
exciting.
Plug, but like it's a bunch of people, pretty much the Facebook commenters on, thinking or indigenous people are lazy and addicts and.
Well, why don't they just get a job, bro? Like,
they're soaking up the system.
People
we
are
give
really
them so
ignorant.
much.
People are really ignorant.
Yeah, so they take these people. I guess it's going to be debuting in September, but they take them to an Indian reserve. Or sorry,
it's called First Contact, I think.
Yeah. And I feel like, so they get to see the real way of life and how it actually is, and not their perceptions. And I think that's the same for like anything. Like that's you traveling within your own country, but like you think of the people talking about like Islamic people in the Middle East and Africans. Like, I try not to pass judgment on anything because I don't know what their daily life is or anything. It's so much different from ours.
I know. Like, I actually listened to your last podcast, and you were talking about like reverse racism and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And that got really heated. That was interesting. It didn't actually get heated, but it was an interesting topic because you guys didn't agree, I think.
Yeah, we don't agree on
that.
that.
You don't agree. But I don't think reverse racism is the right word.
What's the definition of that? Because I wasn't really sure.
Reverse racism actually doesn't make sense as a definition because that means like it's like a double negative. It's like doesn't exist. It'd be a positive thing.
Yeah.
But so what the definition of racism is being discriminatory based on race because you think your race is superior. That is like the flatline definition.
Do you think
by that only anyone can be racist towards anyone?
I looked it up because when this incident was happening, which was on the last podcast, I was like, okay, I want to make sure my definition of racism is firm. And there is part where like society and
there's multiple definitions of racism.
Yeah, exactly.
Well. There's new definitions of racism.
Because like for sure you can't be like the system is not oppressive to white people. Like that we can all understand. That makes a lot of sense to women, perhaps, but to white men, like the system's not oppressive.
Right.
But to me, if you hate someone because they're a different skin color, whether it's a other person hating white person or white person.
And I agree with you, that is racism because I've met Lebanese people that despise black people. I've met a lot of different races. Like I met like one woman from Dubai who said, I absolutely despise Chinese people. And I was like, okay, so that's racism. You know what I mean? Like how you're not black and you're not white, but it's racism regardless. So you can't just put it into this tiny scope and say, this is the only place that racism exists because it's not true. What about the genocide? What about, like the genocides all over the world? What about the Jews? People are racist towards Jews.
Israel and Palestine.
Exactly. Yeah. It's. I think nowadays we can change definitions to fit our storylines, and I think that is great, but it's also bad. For example, like when we grew up, it was called the pound sign, and now it's the hashtag. Oh yeah. Definitions change, right? Over the time, things change.
Yeah, it's true, and like that's like just you see it all the time, and I'm all for freedom of opportunity. I think everyone deserves the opportunity to get their shot, no matter who you are, where you come from, your background, your ethnicity, any of that type of stuff. I just have a hard time like as a straight white man, like another story that came up was have you heard of Dark Guy?
No.
The Leaf fan that was at the
Dart Guy.
Yeah,
I thought you said Dark Guy. I was like, what?
Have you heard of the Dark Guy? No, so Dark Guy.
Batman?
He got hired as like a central hockey scout or something for the scouting system. And anyways, not only were people trashing him because they're like, oh, what? Because you're famous with your face painted in a cigarette, oh, you get this job? So one, you already don't know what they do or anything about them or their experience. And two, there's people being like, you should be ashamed of yourself that you took a job away from a woman or a transgendered person or a minority, and it's not your place to have that job. It should be going to other people. And to me, I'm like, no, like, yes, there needs to be more representation for sure in that, especially certain fields, but like, I am such a firm believer of hiring on the merit of that person in that position.
So you are a firm believer in equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's great. I also agree with you.
Because
I wouldn't want... I use like firefighting as a great example. It's freaking hard. I know many women that have failed the test because it's physically demanding. I know many men that have failed the test, especially when we went to school at Algonquin. Lots of people fail the physical stuff. I would not feel comfortable if they designated half the team to be women just to fill that quota of the outcome of we want half our staff to be women. It's the most capable person. It should be always.
100%.
And guess what? If you have two capable people and you know what? You don't really have a lot of minorities on your team, why not hire the minority? I think that's the argument people are trying to make, is that sometimes that's not the case.
Yeah, I think that's more than fair. More than fair in that way, and especially in, tech fields and stuff like that. But like, if you're really going to be a business just thinking about, oh, I need to hire this person because they're different, like, you might not be successful. It should be, just because one person is, a minority of some sort and the other person has a degree in engineering, Google should not just hire that person because they're a different skin color or a different
and you
religion.
shouldn't just hire someone because they're your best friend and you really want to work with them. There's a difference. That's nepotism. I'm just kidding.
That's also terrible, working with
It happens all the time, though, I think.
Especially in superior...
It's all about who you know.
Yeah, it is.
The more I learn and the older I get, I'm like, man, I should have made more friends.
I would never hire a person to work under me, though.
No, I think there's the line.
Like a friend. Sorry, I would never work a friend.
Never hire someone that you can't fire.
Yes.
That's a good tip. I learned that. Yeah.
But going back to that conversation with my brother and you know where he comes from, it's that far left movement that has just got me thinking so much about things.
I do think it is a little bit brainwashing because people are afraid to be rejected as being like a kind human.
Yeah.
If you believe anything but what is completely accepting. I can't even think of a word to describe how that makes certain individuals feel. But I feel like it's very scary. I think people are afraid. And so like if you're a left wing and you're a liberal and you hear, okay, you have to think this way. If you think anything but this way, you're not on our side.
You're a bad person.
But
we're going to come for you.
And you can't pigeonhole people like that. Like, you can do ballet, but also be a sumo wrestler. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, why can't you do both?
Yeah.
And it's, I think people really think that they can't.
Yeah, it's, I hear, you know, people call it like tribalism. Like, it's like your team. And if you're not on our team and agree on everything that we agree on, you're not on our team.
You're not on our team.
And then we're coming for you. Like, we're gonna
that
go on Twitter and rip you
terrifying.
down. And that's, I think, in my perspective, that makes the far left just as bad as like people who are on the
just
far
as
right.
bad as the far. Any kind of really polar opinion is usually not great.
Yeah, and they're just as violent or just as menacing or wish just as much hate on other people.
Nothing is black and white
on another side. And like, it seems so barbaric and unfair because I don't know if you listened to the first episode I did of this, but I was talking about the Women's March and how you think that's a great, yes, women are getting together to march for rights and to end sexual assault. And we're like, I think, you know, the far majority of people are like, yes, that is great.
Yay, women.
Finally. Mm-hmm. But then, oh, no.
Yeah.
Minority women were pissed because not again,
it's the intersectionality that they want.
But you're wearing a white vagina hat and that doesn't include me. Or transgendered women were like...
But if I wore a black vagina hat, you'd be like, that's not your vagina hat to wear. So
you know what I mean? You can never be left enough. And that's the problem. Like, it's like as soon as you think you're like, I'm a good person, I support this. It's like, no.
And I think
there's this new thing.
I learned to be hopeless in these situations because I just feel like there's no right answer. And it's kind of, you want to do good in the world. I think most people want to do good in the world. I don't know. I'm kind of starting to not believe that.
I know, yeah.
But are we born good? I don't know. Does something happen along the way? I don't know. That's a different conversation. I totally forgot what I was talking about. I digress.
No, but, you know, it's so crazy that they just jump on their own, and then you wonder how they're going to have any merit to any of their arguments. And then, like, the people who they're actually opposed to is like, they're just like, okay, well, we'll just stop fighting you. We're just going to step back and let you guys attack each other, and we're just going to do our own thing. What you were saying is, I had to remember too, you were saying people, I think, are inherently good or want to do good in their community, in the world, or just be a good person, whatever it is, holding the door for someone. But now it's like people think they're a good person by being an awful person. Like, an asshole is an asshole.
I know, you're right.
Just because you're being an asshole supporting minorities doesn't make you any less of an asshole.
I know.
You think your heart's in the right place and perhaps you're fighting for the right cause, but going about it in a completely violent and obscene way that isn't going to stand in any form of legislation or anything like that. And if you put 3/4 of your energy that you're putting into those angry Facebook comments and tweets into running for office or starting a charity or funding a scholarship, like, you could actually do good.
Yeah. But I think we have a lot of social media warriors on our hands. And also, social media is so powerful. I think none of us even really know or
it's so
knew.
New. Well, it's so new.
I know,
that,
but none of us have.
I
feel I'm overwhelmed by its power on a daily basis. Things can spread like wildfire. It can ruin your life.
Things you don't expect to.
It can ruin your life. People can comment on your stuff and say horrible things about you and not think twice about it.
Yeah. There's not that face-to-face conversation.
It's insane. It's like you have a bunch of keyboard warriors just just making people feel bad, and they love it, and it
Yeah.
gives them a high. But you know what? They don't even think about it. They don't even think that they're being a bad person. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
the
they
worst
think
part.
they're doing good because like, oh,
Or not even doing good, just being like, yo, this
I'm
chick's ugly.
advocating.
Types those 3 words.
That's so.
Like,
That's also
4
so
words.
weird.
Anyway, you could say that, and then they leave their keyboard not thinking of it ever again. Meanwhile, the person who that's directed to, they could be thinking about that for weeks. They could have an eating disorder. You don't know their life story. And it's just like, why are we so mean?
They could be suicidal, and that
chill?
pushes them to the edge.
I know.
There was an article I was trying to pull up that I tweeted out, but there's a science that they're doing research on that being like a social justice warrior, a social media keyboard warrior, releases endorphins in your brain.
Oh, totally.
That's
I
like
believe
a
that.
high, right? And you're like, I
Yeah.
did something.
Yeah.
I feel good.
I agree.
And it's like if I were to sit here and be like, you know, and I'm not saying this, but if I'm like, Clarissa, you're fat and ugly, I could see, but I could see the emotions
Yeah.
on your face, your reaction.
That was really mean.
You could come back to me. Of course, I don't think that. But like, I could see, and you could come back at me, and perhaps if you were like, you know, you're like, you know what, like take your coffee, splash it in my face.
would do that.
Jump me and beat me up. There's consequence.
That is the reaction I would have.
Because there's a face-to-face thing, but on the internet, you don't. I don't
Yeah.
see a reaction. I don't see how much it hurt, or if
You
you're
just see
laughing.
words written angrily in caps.
Yeah, and I'm like, we're missing that whole human interaction.
I think even more so than that, which is pretty scary, is we're losing the ability to think for ourselves.
in a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways. We are pushed so much stuff. So much stuff is pushed our way. Thoughts, opinions, how to think, how to be, how to live, and we just take it. We just take it. We don't analyze it. We don't have time to digest it. It's just pushed upon us, and we have to deal with it and then act a certain way.
Yeah.
And critical thinking is so important, and honestly, it's not even taught. That's the most important thing, I think. I think of when I think of these arguments.
Yeah.
Because so often, I remember one of my friends, I used to protest a lot. I don't know if you know that. I used to go to rallies, and I was a really big fan of the slut walk and all of that stuff. And I really enjoyed it, and I really felt empowered as like a 20-something woman. And then one year I was doing the slut walk, and someone like screamed at me, "Oh, you're a slut." I was like, well, that's why I'm here, because I want to confront this. So let's go. And then he just ran away, and I couldn't.
Oh, it was a man.
It was a
Okay.
man, yeah, and I couldn't do anything about it. And it could have not been towards me, and I'm not good with confrontation. So I was like, this is probably for the best. But I thought about it, and I was just like, okay, so like, why am I doing this walk? And I was like, I was doing this because it looked fun. First of all, who doesn't like doing fun stuff? And I was like, well, because it's empowering women, right? It has to be empowering women. And then I was just like, but what if I just walked in whatever I wanted to wear? And I didn't even think about that, right? Like, I didn't think about the entirety of the movement in general. And what do we want out of this? What do we want out of the movement? Anyway, I sometimes do it. I don't necessarily anymore, but it doesn't mean I don't support it. Mm-hmm. But what I'm going with this point is my friend who I do these rallies with, or, go to seminars and stuff. She messaged me, and she's like, hey, let's get ready. Let's go protest this thing. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, oh, I want to go protest the Jordan Peterson talk at Ottawa. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to go. And what she didn't know is that I'm actually a fan of Jordan Peterson, not for his actions per se, but I do think he's a very smart person, and he is actually a fan of the equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. And he just honestly is very monotone and has no personality, and that's why I think everything he says comes off so terribly. But
yeah, that when you said that, I immediately was like, oh yeah, that's a Peterson thing. I'm like, I'm gonna get in trouble. But
why are you gonna get in trouble?
No, I'm not actually.
Oh.
But if someone listened to this, they would take that out of context. And
great. I'm not saying that I support his
all his views.
Yeah, his whole thing on the transgender thing where he wouldn't call, I don't know the situation, but that transgender person can't even speak for all transgender people either, which
Yeah.
is really crazy, because apparently he has a lot of students that are also transgender that wrote letters of support to him, which is great. And it's just like, we need to really think critically about what we're doing and what we're saying.
Yeah.
And you know what? I wasn't going to go protest someone unless I knew for a fact. But even protesting the whole event doesn't matter. It's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
What do you want out of your demands? When you protest and you rally?
Well, some schools do shut them down, shut the talks down for people who are on the right. especially.
Yeah, which
is funny,
I think that's very interesting that you mentioned
which is
that.
funny because have you listened to him speak either in his lectures or on other podcasts or interviews?
Totally. I listened to his book, the
He's
12 Things to Live By or whatever.
His logic, he believes what he believes, but he's not even a far right person. And did you listen to his justification about that transgendered thing?
I honestly don't remember so long ago.
According to him, what he was opposed to is that he would not accept a legislation of what the government told me to say. So what he said was, if a trans person came up to me and said, Mr. Peterson, I would like you to call me by my preferred pronoun, he would be like, okay, thank you for coming to me. I absolutely respect that. What he didn't want is the government saying, you have to do this, because he was worried, and I think a lot of academics that think about it is worried about the slippery slope that does.
Yeah, and of course, next thing we won't be able to have this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can't talk about Jordan Peterson in public. You can't talk about transgender
people
unless you're transgender. You know what I mean? It's putting barriers up.
I truly believe people who protest things like that, whether it's Peterson or Shapiro or other commentators that might not go completely to the left in their thoughts or their ideals, all they do is read the headlines or read a blog or an article like highlighting and
did you do your research? I often say that when I'm arguing with people online. Did you even read what I wrote? Did you even take the time out of your day, or were you just instantly angry and needed to say something in that moment?
Like a good thing is like you'd see a headline of an article on something like BuzzFeed that Jordan Peterson says the wage gap isn't real, so people immediately would be like, whoa, blah, 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 blah. When he's actually, his argument is that if you look at men and women jobs, so if me and you had the exact same job, chances are with the exact same experience, like we were equal person, I was just a man, you were a woman, that there would be no gap in the wage. He says as a whole there is, because men typically are more likely to take.
They're more dominant. They ask for more pay raises. They ask for more leadership. It's because women as a whole notoriously are more timid, and we take the back seat a lot of the times. We are team players. We want to put other people first. It's literally these stereotypical gender roles, which I think people also hate him for. But I'm a firm believer that men and women are totally insanely different.
Oh no, he totally agrees on that.
And I know, and exactly, and that's why I think people really don't like him, is because we have all these new concepts that we're trying to deal and break down, and like the idea of transgender people is that you pick a gender. Essentially, you pick a gender, and sometimes they're stereotypically feminine or stereotypically masculine, and that kind of goes against the gender fluidity argument, right? It's very confusing for a lot of people, especially for people that say men and women are the same. It's extremely confusing, that whole, academic library. It's overwhelming for me. I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. I respect everybody individually, and I will never, ever discriminate. I want to know everyone's story.
And support whatever they want to do.
It's about
not
respect, though. Like, if I accidentally say something, I'm like, oh, she said this, but she's like, gets mad at me and says, that's not my pronoun. That's not the way to educate people. If I mistakenly said the wrong thing, can you go, Clarissa, please, I would like you to call me by they. That's fine. Yeah. I don't understand why it needs to be, you're in the wrong because you should know better.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to know better?
Especially if that person, maybe identifies like way more feminine and is wearing dresses and has long hair.
Yeah.
I mean, we're definitely not at a point at society that we just say everything they and their. I mean, we might get there. I don't know.
That's just grammatically confusing too.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever get there. To be honest, I think there's going to be
chewing ice. Too
many people who are opposed to that will ever see a common agreement in society.
Yeah.
If they ask me personally, hey, I'm going to be like, you know what? You asked me, no problem. I'm not going to fight who you are. I respect that. Do what you want to do. I was trying to get to the bottom of this with my brother because that one specifically, I can understand the transgendered, and I'm not saying this isn't real or anything, but it is very hard for me to understand people and the sexuality where they're either gender fluid or... and that's just me not knowing or understanding their biology.
How are you supposed to know something you physically can never, ever experience?
Yeah, and it's hard to wrap my head around. Like, it's just like... like if you say that's how you are, okay, but it is very hard just to understand, like, how does that even work?
Yeah, that's why I think these conversations, especially conversations like this, where we feel safe to openly speak about it, and even then we're a little afraid. I think you and I are still a little afraid of what
I'm always worried that my Twitter's going to blow up. This guy is racist or transphobic. And you know what?
I think sometimes that barrier stops us from saying a lot of stuff, which is a good thing, because no one ever wants to have hate speech. But the difference is like, if you're asking for clarification or you're asking a question, there should never be any kind of, onus on you to take the blame for just not knowing. Or
animosity against you, or being shamed, or,
There are stupid questions, but guess what? They need answers.
Yeah, exactly. But potentially people could be like, I hate this, like, Clarissa and Ryan should be fired from their jobs and lose their, like, people would actually, like, wish that just because we're asking questions.
Sometimes I want to offend people, though. I want to make them think. You know what I mean?
I think that's the big thing.
I love making people think.
People don't.
We can talk about flat Earth.
Yeah, but people don't either want to think. They're stuck in their mindset and they don't want to evolve.
I think that's a maturity thing too, because I literally was that.
Well, there is a lot of people who are older, like,
you're right, though,
don't want to move away from their completely Republican conservative views on certain things. Right?
I thought I knew everything at 20 years old.
A lot of people, yeah, me too.
Everything.
Me too.
And now, if you ask me, what do you know really well? Nothing.
I'm like, I watched a YouTube video and I'm an expert on this now. For sure.
I was like, for sure, science is fact. It's everything we know, everything we've ever lived for. It's definite. No. That's so wrong.
And that's the point of science, right? Like, it's not necessarily like you're always trying to prove yourself wrong to make sure that it's right.
We're doing science every day. We're doing science right now. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, it's big, and
that's an overwhelming topic.
And it's funny, like, I think that people on the left truly don't want free speech or freedom of expression or freedom of conversation. And one of the big things I always say is, here's me, I'm an expert because I took philosophy of human rights. But one of the biggest things that I took away from that is a guarantee, like, you're only guaranteed that right unless it infringes on other people's rights.
Yeah.
So what that means to me is the reason why hate speech or racism or calling, a colored person like the N-word or something derogatory like that, that's why it's not okay, because you're infringing on their right. But if you're just talking openly and honestly about your ideas, like, I think that, we should be fiscally conservative and not spend a lot of money and, whatever your point is, why are people protesting outside of your talk about economics, right? Like, people are like, no, they need to be silenced because they don't agree with us.
It's a slippery slope on both ends.
Like, I would love, and this was like what I really wanted to do with this podcast, is like understand other points of view, because I want to learn and evolve in myself and what I think and my views, and get people on the right and the left, because I'm kind of sitting there in the middle not knowing where to go.
But there's no wrong with the middle. Really. I mean, politically, there is no true middle. That's, I think, a problem in our society, is there is no true middle. Like, everyone thinks NDP is middle. No, they're more left than liberal.
Oh, yeah. It was supposed to be liberal, was supposed to be the classic middle.
Yeah, they're not.
But now they're not. Yeah, they're totally not
It's really
anymore.
lost. You know what? I wish there was a social progressive, fiscally conservative party.
Sometimes they say, depending on the candidate, but the Libertarian Party in the States.
That's not.
So, but if you look at, like, someone like Gary Johnson, if you look at classic libertarians, they talk about everything should be free market and power of the business and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But at the heart of what they want is less government, but being fiscally responsible, but socially progressive. Yeah. So they're all good most of the time. Is like, yeah, no problem. Gay marriage, trans rights, no problem. They're just like, we just don't want to spend money. We want to give you the opportunity to not be paying so much in tax and, maybe donating more or doing stuff for yourself or have more money that you've earned. Sometimes, depending on who the leader of that is that's kind of a middle-ish party. But really, it's like in Canada too, like NDP, I mean, other than Jack Layton, has never been a viable option really, federally at least. It's always two, right? It's
he was really great.
On the right or you're on the left. You're either on one of those teams.
Yeah, that's all you have though.
Or you don't vote. Because anything else is a wasted vote. You're not allowed to think.
You can actually abstain though, which counts as a voted absentee.
Yeah.
Which people don't know. By the way, you can go vote and just check the box, none of the above. And it counts more than if you don't vote at all.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No. I'm not
Look
I'm
at
not
me.
down for the
Educational.
down in the federal politics sometimes.
I don't know. I like talking about everything, so.
Yeah, well, everything's interesting. There's so much to know. There's so much to learn.
I love talking to strangers. It's actually kind of, it's going to get me in trouble, I think, one day.
You'd like Ali then. She attracts people on OC Transpo that you don't want to attract.
Oh, yeah, me too. I actually, but that's okay. One time I actually, there was a woman at the bus stop and it was very cold outside. And she's asking me about my jacket and she's just like, she was clearly foreign and I think she was Chinese and she was asking about my jacket. And I was like, yeah, it's this, blah, blah, blah. She's like, is it warm? I was like, yeah, it's real warm. You should, if you can, you should get one. Well, when she was making conversation, went on and on or whatever, and I was like, we're really talking about nothing. Like just bare bones conversation. Oh, the snow's really nice today, whatever. And then we got on the bus and I was like, where are you from? Like, who are you? And she's like, well, like, this is broken English, obviously. Well, I just came here like a month and a half ago and I'm really trying to learn English. And I was like, she's like, I'm literally just outside right now to learn English.
Just talking to people. Walking
yeah,
by.
She has no roommates. She's just taking transit all day to try and talk to people to learn English. And I was like, you are the bravest person I've ever met.
Seriously.
You are so brave. And I was really taken back and totally humbled because this woman is just talking to me about her day. And I'm sure she's had so much rejection all day of people being like, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. And I was just like so blown away. And I was like, you're amazing. And she's laughing like, yeah, that's so funny. Like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, no, you really are. Like, you are. I aspire to be as brave
Canada,
as you.
Especially North America, this is not what we do. We don't just talk to people.
And so I think that's sometimes I get there's people like that ask for change and whatever, but sometimes maybe if people want to talk to you, maybe they need to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm never like, don't talk to me. I'll talk to them and then I'll get their vibe.
Yeah.
But if they start being creepy or aggressive,
then you shut it down.
I'm kind of like, okay, no. But it's funny you say that. We both work promo gigs. Mm-hmm. And the amount of people, like, I'm not even trying to sell you anything. I just want to give you like a free thing.
I'm trying to give you free stuff.
And they're like, no, I don't want to talk. And this goes right into what we were saying, or people are just like, there's no, like, we're losing humanity almost. Like, I honestly think one day we're going to have like a Matrix-like system where we just plug our brains in.
Are we not in the system already? Isn't this the best video game you've ever played?
We're definitely in the beginning stages, but right, like directly just cord in your brain and you never die. No one ever dies.
Some Black Mirror type shit.
Yeah, but I honestly think we'll go there.
We are in the Black Mirror stage.
Humans will actually aspire to be is to just live virtually.
Do you think you'll have kids?
Me?
Yeah. Do you want kids?
Yeah.
You're gonna bring kids in this world?
Yeah.
Interesting. What else do you want? What else do you want out of life? I'm completely changed.
What do I want out of life?
Yeah, I'm completely the tables have turned.
What do I want out of life? No, I want kids. I want a family.
Is that number one? Do you think that's number one?
No, not right now. That's not my number one priority.
So what is your number one priority?
Supporting mental health is my biggest.
That's awesome.
My biggest thing right now.
I'm very passionate about it.
Yes. And I don't want to see other people die anymore.
I know. Me neither.
From suicide. It's too hard, and I've been there so many times.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing right now is people are starting to talk about it, which is amazing and, like fabulous that we're breaking down the stigma, but now so many people need help.
We really don't have the resources.
No, we do not.
I know we don't.
And, I've now been involved in a couple of things with the Royal Ottawa. I did the Run for Women. I did my Cause for Pause, which was DIFD. And now I'm going to start speaking to high school kids at a program called Is It Me?
That's
so I'm
awesome.
going to be talking about my personal thing. But you talk to these people on the front line every day with mental health, whether it's doctors or researchers and like, they're just like, they're at wit's end. Like, they're all just, we don't know what to do. We're
do you want to know what
overcapacity.
I'm really, really concerned about? So I took psychology, right? And I was like, I'm going to save the world. I'm going to become a psychologist. First of all, I was like, this is a lot. Like, when I took it, I learned more about myself than I ever expected. I was overwhelmed on a daily basis. We were always talking about it. And that's just school.
Yeah.
I didn't even do it. I didn't even pursue it because I was like, I don't think I'm mentally well enough to do that job.
Yeah.
I'm too empathetic. I cry at YouTube videos all day long. I don't think that I could listen to people's problems and not take it home.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
I don't think I could. I think about things all the time. I think about other people all the time, and I just couldn't do it. But the scarier thing that I think is that I am starting to believe that maybe it can't be cured. Like, I think maybe we can mitigate the urge to kill yourself. Mm-hmm. But I'm really scared that we can't cure it. After I had a friend commit suicide last September. It's coming up, the anniversary. And he talked about it all the time. He sought help, you know? He sought help.
Yeah.
He was doing the right things. He was talking about it openly. He let everyone know. He was trying to live his life the best way he could. And he still killed himself in treatment. So it's like, how much more can we do? Do we just chain people to a bed? What kind of, like, what? How can you stop it? It's truly an epidemic.
I think the biggest thing right now people are trying to do is suicide prevention. I think that's the biggest focus.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're struggling, but I think what a lot of people are trying to do are trying to not get you to that point where you...
I think we just want to make life worth living. That should be the cure, right? Like,
yeah,
that should be the cure.
Right. I don't believe necessarily in certain areas that we'll never reach a utopia.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's just always too much shit. There's too many bad people. There's too much corruption, and as long as we have money, there's no way we'll ever reach a utopian land where everything's hunky-dory and everyone's happy. The one thing I believe, and I'm super passionate about, and the reason I support DIFD, which is Do It for Darren, which is a youth mental health, is I truly believe that if you can help kids before it happens, like before it really starts manifesting, you give them the resources, the research, the tools to help them deal with their own mental health before they ever reach a point of crisis. Because, I mean, you remember being in high school, like everything was the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Everything's dramatic. Everything's about to change. You're about to leave your house, become an adult, all these responsibilities, go to school. But
also, like, adulthood is also just high school continued.
Oh, yeah. But you don't
they
even...
don't tell you that.
You don't know that when you're a kid,
you don't know
right?
that,
Like,
yeah.
everything's gonna be... But
worse. It's worse.
And that's when mental health issues start really happening, is when you're, 16 to 21 is when they're really going to start to show for the most part.
Yeah.
So if you can help the kids...
And our brains aren't even fully developed yet. It's insane.
Yeah. And so if you can help them then, I mean, hopefully you can mitigate things like, addiction, of suicide
Coping
epidemic.
mechanisms, yeah, you can stop it all.
Of, gun violence, like the feeling the need to, like, go out and kill people because you're upset or something, or
it's so overwhelming to think about all of the world's issues
that could be solved just with mental health too.
I know,
it's crazy. And I was talking about this yesterday. I did a 53-minute rant on what I think is personal responsibility. Is, I mean, I get that some days you're lying down and it's just you can't get out of bed, and I've been there as well, but I really think you need to take some ownership
for your own life
and of your own mental health and stop playing the victim.
Yeah, I know. I've had friends that were like, I was a good friend to them, and all of a sudden they've always struggled with the depression, and I'll always be like, let's hang out, like let's socialize, let's like get you out of the house. And then I was be like, no, I can't, I'm depressed. And at some point you're like, throw me a bone.
Yeah, I said that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I said that too. You need to show up for people.
Yeah, because you're at that point, it's not just that you're depressed, you're being an asshole.
Yeah.
It's like the truth.
Well, that person, if you go every day for a year being like, hey, like, I'm not even saying you need to get out of that house, but maybe just sit on your back porch and just kind of like, let's just talk and chill.
Like, also, like, it's supporting one another. Like, maybe like I need your help a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe empathy a little bit.
Depression is a very selfish disease where you're stuck in your own head. We both know that. And again, I've been there. I'm sure you've been there, but
it really
what really helps?
Disease.
You know what really helps with depression, I find, and it might not help with everybody, but not thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
Helping other people, being there for other people, seeing like that time I came to your birthday just last month, and you're just like, I knew you would show up. And that meant so much to me, more than anything else, because that's what I want to be known for. Like, Ryan always showed up for me, whether it's a birthday party or there was a girl I was seeing. She was an opera singer, and I would always go to her recitals or her shows. No matter what, I would manipulate my schedule so I could be there.
Showing up is so goddamn important right now.
Yeah, and I think everyone needs that.
More than anything,
everyone
really
needs that. people living with depression, you want someone to show up for you and just help you.
It's so easy to bail right now. It's so easy to
and
bail.
people glamorize it and think it's fun and funny and it's trendy.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, like,
but depression
that.
and self-harm and self whatever is super trendy. It's super funny. It's memes. It's like, hey, we're all depressed. We're the depressed generation. It's like, this isn't great, guys. We gotta step it up.
Yeah.
Like, just show up.
It's like,
stop thinking like everyone else. It goes back to critical thinking. Think for yourself.
Gotta think for yourself.
Think for yourself.
Because at the end of the day, it's only going to be you.
It is you. It's literally you.
You have your family and your support
friends.
system.
But it's you.
And that's great. But at the end of the day, if, I mean, the world blows up and everyone's gone and it's just you.
Yeah.
So you need to make something for yourself because from experience, no one really is going to do it for you. People will try to help and lend a helping hand and try to guide you along the way. But there's no way that people got their own shit going on.
Yeah, everybody. I feel like that's the most overwhelming thing as an adult is you're like, wow, everyone is messed up.
Yeah.
Everybody. No one's like, if someone acts like they got it going on, they don't. There's something wrong with them. Everybody has something going on. Like from the outside, it looks perfect.
Yeah.
But then you have one conversation, you're like, yeah, my dad just had brain surgery last night and he's not doing so great.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, Deborah, you were just in Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly. I always say, like, if you put like 10 people in a room and they're all they're all just complete dummies. Like they don't know what's going on. Like they're just clueless. Someone's going to be the leader.
Yeah.
And that's all real life is someone was confident enough and sure they maybe have some experience and knowledge, but really they're just the most confident. So they're going to take the reps and be like, we're going to do this. And then a lot of people are like, oh, okay, I guess this is what we're doing.
We're leaders and followers, we're for sure.
I definitely find, corporate culture is like that. All these things we were talking about with like social media and, left and right is everyone follows their leader, which is their government or whoever's in charge of the party that they affiliate themselves with. Like a lot of people need others to tell them what to do.
I'm not that person.
No. I think for myself, if I don't agree with something, especially, at work or in personal life, like I'm like, okay, I'll do it, but why?
I find so much joy
Why are we doing
in
that?
thinking differently. Like, when people are like, you're weird, I'm like, yes, I'm weird. I love it.
Love that.
I love that. It's such a good compliment.
I don't know if I'm weird.
You're kind of weird.
Yeah, I have definitely.
But it's a compliment to me, so I
super
mean it
weird
as a
tendencies that I don't always show.
Yeah.
To a lot of people, like I'm a huge metalhead,
right?
And a lot of people think that's weird. Like you don't even know what they're saying.
What? I like punk rock, but I look like a princess, so it's like I wear like at work. It's such a joke. I used to dress so punk rock, right? Like I used to be like a little like whatever.
Yeah, you had the
it was zipper jeans, and I wore like studded vests, and I had like giant spiked camo jackets, and like band tees galore, and I would just listen to punk rock and go to shows.
You conform to society.
Yeah, but then I was like, oh, but I gotta get a job, and no one's gonna hire me if I wear like a band tee to the interview. So like now I'm a public servant, which is hilarious.
Yeah, you went to the exact.
I'm like the exact opposite of my anarchy days, and I was like, fuck the man. And now I'm like, where's my paycheck, the man? But honestly, I don't see myself staying as a public servant, so that's great. It's just really good means to an end right now.
They pay well.
They pay great.
Good benefits.
I don't know. A third of my paycheck goes to everything.
Yeah, I heard, someone else was telling me that yeah, it's a great pay, but like you have to mandatorily put it into your pension.
Yeah. So I
do you have a union?
I have yeah.
So you have
and it's
union
dues, and then we have benefits, and then we also have something else. I'm forgetting, but it's something else.
That's insane.
It's a lot. So it's a third of my paycheck. So my salary, I don't mind
taxes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the other thing. The taxes
to pay for yourself.
To pay for myself. So I make like $57,000 a year, but after all of the deductions, I make 36. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny to me, but it's not at the same time. And also being a single person and taxes kind of sucks. Like you get nothing out of taxes as a single person.
You got 20 cents back. This was the first year because I wasn't in school.
But that's okay.
I didn't owe. I know a lot of people owe. But yeah, the first time because I didn't have any tuition to claim.
Yeah.
They're like, so you're actually only going to get $1.20. And I'm like,
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
oh.
Because you're so used to getting a lump sum of money when you're in school. And
Yeah.
you're like, wow, money.
Thousands of dollars sometimes. Hundreds.
Yeah,
at least.
not anymore. Sometimes you might owe money, which is wild. I'm going to owe money next year for sure.
Yeah, but you have like investment properties.
Yeah,
and
but it's true.
you
I
did
do.
like weird things.
I
that
did really weird things.
we're not supposed to do in our 20s.
What do you mean?
You have like an investment property for an Airbnb.
And you know what's funny is people look at me and they think, oh, what a rich bitch. I get
thought
that a
at
lot.
first.
Oh, I get everything handed to me. Oh,
That's not what I said. I was like, good for her. She's making a lot of money and now she's investing it properly.
good.
I
Actually,
wasn't like, oh my God, like,
but I'm actually not making a lot of money. It's just that I am extremely savvy and I know how banks work. That is the reality.
how do banks work?
I can't say this on there.
Oh, that's fine. You signed the form.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to say it.
You're smart. Okay, we can
Yeah.
talk about it off air.
But it's really about knowing the system and playing it the way they want it to be played, but being smart about it.
So wouldn't it be great if they taught some of that in school?
That would be great. But the thing is, if they taught everybody this stuff, everyone would be on the, like, the thing is, you can't have order without chaos. Someone has to lose.
It's true.
Good. Things will be better, but not for everybody.
It's true. The
You
system
know?
there needs to be winners and losers. System,
There's always winners and losers.
but you always
losers.
need the hope that you're going to be a winner.
Yeah, that's why we have the Death of a Salesman. You ever read that book or the play?
No, is that what that's about?
Yeah.
Arthur Miller, so
Yeah,
smart.
Arthur Miller is so smart and before his time. And I love these like period pieces that are not even period pieces. They're just go throughout time. They're timeless. Like The Handmaid's Tale that was written in the 80s by Margaret Atwood. Awesome Canadian writer.
Haven't read that either.
It doesn't
Or
matter
watched
because
it.
there's an awesome show and you should totally watch it. It's so good. Anyway, watch The Handmaid's Tale. I'm obsessed. I literally just want to go home and watch
This
it
is a
right
paid
now.
advertising.
Yeah, no, it's not. On Hulu. Yeah, but what were we talking about? I digress so hard.
You sidetracked. You were talking about we were talking about winners and losers.
Winners and losers. There
In
has to be winners.
society, having the hope that you can be a winner.
And I think a lot of people assumed that I came from a rich family, but definitely not. Like, you have been to my mom's house, which
You've pretty much been raised by a single mom for the most part.
yeah,
now.
a disabled single mother living off welfare my whole life.
That's gonna piss off a lot of right people.
Why?
She's living off the system. She can get a job.
Well, my mom's disabled. No one would hire her, and she doesn't have an education. So it's like, good luck. And she has 3 children. So can she afford daycare? No.
I'm not putting your mom down.
Anyway,
Your mom's
no, I
so
know. I know
lovely.
you're not. And you know what? She did try. She did many times to start her own business. She actually had a successful not Airbnb, but a bed and breakfast a long time ago. So this is where it's kind of like full circle. So yeah, I think I learned a lot from my family. We're very entrepreneurial. And like my family is like, we got crackheads and we got billionaires. So it's super crazy all over the place, and they teach you stuff and they teach you lessons, and you just gotta absorb it as you go. Money is super interesting because I feel like people really don't know how anything works. You're shaking your head.
I
like,
try.
Nope. It's hard.
I honestly try. Like I have certain things.
I got super lucky with certain situations. For example, it's all about opportunity and taking the risk, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
The first opportunity I got was back when I was getting OSAP, and they overpaid me. So they gave me, like, because they thought I finished my last course in December, but they still gave me money for the next semester. Even though I was not in school, I had no classes, I didn't have to pay tuition. So I took that money and I invested it in marijuana. And
Oh, it's so smart.
I know I could have gone on a trip. It was like $5,000. I could have gone on a trip. Could have done many things. I made enough money to have a down payment on a house.
Yeah, and you paid off exactly what they.
Yeah,
owed
and
to them
and guess
and-
what? I only have $10,000 left on my student loan. That's because I put entire paychecks on my debt though. This is something that
I do
people
that
don't.
too, yeah.
Yeah. So sacrifice is everything. You know what I mean? I'm sacrificing now so later I don't have student debt, because what people don't realize is you can be overextended by your credit. So if you have $30,000 of student debt, they're going to be like, I don't think I'm going to give you a mortgage this year, Deborah. Like, I'm so sorry, because I use Deborah all the time. I just think it's a really funny name. But you have to think of these things, and people are like, oh, that's a future me problem. And yeah, sure, it is. But at the same time, OSAP, Ontario Student Loans, their interest is extortion. And you want to get
it's
that
terrible.
off as soon as you can, because you're paying like a third extra what your tuition originally was, and you could use that towards other things like putting a down payment on a house, putting in down payment on a car, getting an extra line of credit to start your own business, all these extra things that no one thinks about. And investing as a woman, I think I've met one other female investor that I self-direct invest, so I don't pay someone to do it for me. I do it for me.
So what do you use? Like, how do you do?
You can go to your bank and set it up and use a TFSA. Anyway, this is a super boring conversation for you listening.
No way. This is stuff that people need to know.
Yeah, it's...
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could make it by investing smartly, or you could lose everything, but that's like the risk you take by investing.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, is it's always a risk, right? Like, I bought a house. That's a huge risk at my age. The thing is, it's a semi-detached duplex with 2 apartments in it, right? So what we did, my brother and I, we pooled our resources and we bought this place together. So since November, we've been Airbnb-ing both of them.
Yeah.
And, well, not since November. There's another... Since January, technically, we've been Airbnb-ing both of them, and it's very lucrative, and we've been able to renovate. We put AC in it, and we made it really comfortable for the Airbnb guests. And I'm also an awesome host. Like, I meet you in person. I give you a tour. It's super clean. Like, I go out of my way every time to make sure everybody has something. I've gone and brought coffee when we ran out. I'm overboard.
Wow.
So that helps too, right? So just that sacrifice.
Customer.
And like I sacrifice weekends because of all the cleaning. It's a lot of cleaning. Like, it's been a lot of cleaning. But and now my brother and I are going to move into the bottom one together. Another sacrifice, living with my brother. Okay, so these are the sacrifices that are piling up, but they're not that bad, right? You can live with it for a little bit.
I live with my brother.
But because I'm living with my brother, we're going to live rent-free in that apartment in Centertown while we Airbnb the top
so
one.
All that money, yeah.
And so we're living free, essentially, because it pays for everything. It pays for the mortgage, it pays for the gas, the water, everything. It's that lucrative. Just one unit will break even. And we can take our money and we can pay off our debt. We can save for trips. My sister's getting married in January, so I have to pay for that thing in Jamaica. Oh my God. So it's about sacrificing. You know what? I'm sacrificing living on my own. I actually did move out on my own a year ago.
A couple times, haven't you?
Yeah. So I was living on my own and I was paying... It was such a bad apartment. It was on Gilmore in Centertown, and just everything was just wrong. It was really small. My dog was really claustrophobic. My kitchen, my oven was a fire hazard. It was $875 a month plus utilities. Like, it was just for what? You know, what was I getting out of this living situation? And then I had this opportunity to buy a house. My brother had this idea, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And you know what? That's it. You just got to make sacrifices and take risks.
Yeah, I mean, I've always done that too. Like, I would give up. No, it's a little bit of a less of an extent, but I would give up weekends to work and try to build my career. And
totally.
I teeter on this though, because at one point I'm like, I need to sacrifice. So like you, I put a lot of my money on debt.
Yeah.
Actually, everything but $40 on every paycheck goes to some form of debt or bill. I have $40 at the end of the day. Yeah. For
various spending.
Now, that's not that bad. That's rent, that's food, that's everything, right? So I'm taken care of. It's just I don't have anything really left over. But at the same point, I teeter on the fact that I might not make it to 60. So what's the point of trying to save for retirement? Right, like, it's such a fine balance. So what I've decided in my own mind is like for a year, 1 year, I'm gonna save. I'm gonna pay debt down. I'm gonna do this.
Pay your debt down first, save later. You have to pay it down. Like, if it's
you can't save while you have so much debt.
And people don't understand that. They're like, oh, I'm just saving for a trip. I'm like, pay your debt down. Go on the trip later. You know what? Well, I don't necessarily agree with that either, because I did go to Asia.
Yeah.
So I'm a balanced kind of person. Like, I balanced my budget, and I was like, I'm going to go to Asia this year.
Yeah.
I need a break.
And what I'm going to do is, like, 1 year, it's like, I'm frugal. I'm sitting in there.
Yeah, and you could totally do that.
I'm putting in money towards my debt, get it down. And then the year after, I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to take one trip.
I believe they call this work hard, play hard.
Yes. I'm going to take one trip, because goddamn, I could die tomorrow, and I want to see part of the world. I don't
and also, the world's
regrets.
changing so fast with climate change. If you want to travel, please do it sooner than later.
Yeah.
It's a great point, right?
Like coastal cities.
Indonesia, just there, earthquake decimated where I was. Decimated. The island of Gili, decimated.
So sad. My boss was in Italy. I don't know if she was in the city. Where, like, Genoa, where the bridge collapsed.
The bridge collapsed, yeah. Genoa.
Like, that could be you.
Is that Italy?
Yeah, Genoa. or Genoa, whatever it's called.
Like Genoa salami. Makes sense, Italy.
Maybe I'm just saying that because of the salami.
I know. I think that's why I'm
but
saying
you know what
too.
I mean? Like, at any point, anything could happen beyond your control. So it's such a fine line. It's like, do I be smart and miss all these opportunities because I know it's smart to do this?
Yeah.
Or do X? Or do I YOLO it, as the kids say?
I don't know. I also have an extreme detachment from money because I grew up so poor. Like, the thing is, when I was growing up, there's a lot of things I couldn't have, and I would desire them so badly, like a laptop or dumb stuff. Like, I'd have to sit out on, like, school field trips was one thing that always stuck with me. Like, being that one kid that was just sitting in the classroom. It was an awful feeling. It's an awful feeling because your parents can't fork out $40 to go to wherever, the biodome. So it's that kind of stuff that has stuck with me and been like, screw it. It's just money. More will come. Like, I'll always, right now, I'm not going to live like something's going to happen tomorrow and there's no money that's going to come. Also, we live in Canada. We're extremely fortunate. We have resources that will protect us and support us.
Yeah.
And so we have that luxury, whereas, if you're in another third world country, you don't. It's you and only you that will support you. In Canada, we have the luxury to make these risks and take these risks. Like, even if I file bankruptcy, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be
just wait
fine.
a couple of years.
My
and
credit
goes,
will suck. I can't get a loan, whatever. I'll work cash jobs. You know what I mean? I'll save my paycheck. It's not a big deal.
Well, you can rebuild your credit.
You can rebuild
it
your
takes
credit.
a while. It takes long.
5 to 7 years.
Yeah, but it's not a be-all, end-all. And I actually know people who are just like, you know what? I already own my home. So they're just like, declare bankruptcy. Wipes away some of their debt. And then, you're not going to be able to purchase something new on credit anymore, but you just wiped out a lot of your debt.
Yeah, it's insane how it works. And
you can even get a car now.
Yeah.
With no credit.
No, you can't get
Bad
a car.
credit.
I don't even have a car.
You can now.
I don't even have a car.
I mean, it's super high interest rates, but you can go
There's
to
always
one of
a will.
those-
Where there's a will, there's a way. And you know what? I think the only time that you should not take these crazy risks is if you have a family to support. Because I think those people that take those risks and go for their dreams instead of supporting their family are pieces of shit. No offense.
Especially when people depend on you.
Yeah, like your little people are depending on you and you're going to let them down.
Yeah.
And like money is everything, but if you have the opportunity to take a job that supports your family and you choose to turn it down to pursue your dreams, it's too late for you. You have kids. That's your dream. You know what I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that, like, to my core. Like, your kids come first if you have them.
Yeah, that's a super tough one too, eh?
Oh, totally. I'm sure people would disagree with me. I don't sell my dreams. No, you have kids. That's your life.
Yeah. No, like,
and
you're
also
right.
kids are mucho expensive.
Yeah.
Especially now, I can't even imagine. You need
Daycare.
like a tablet to go to public school. What?
I
don't know.
That's why people call my parents crazy for adopting and fostering.
Your parents are beautiful humans.
Yeah, but like, they're expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Oh yeah, they just eat away. Not them personally, but kids, like daycare, food.
Yeah, everything.
Activities, because you want them to go out and
college, everything.
Yeah, like it's
clothing.
It is tough though, because it goes back to saying, like, at the end of the day, you only have you. It's a tough conundrum to think about.
I think
right?
having children is the biggest sacrifice of my life. Like, if I ever had kids.
Yeah, like, you should be
sacrifice.
responsible. Like, if you're gonna have kids, that's why they should say wait.
And of course, they're rewarding in their own way. They're rewarding in a different way. Like, I'm sure it's amazing when you're in an old age home and you're dying and you're surrounded by your family and you're happy and you're loved. I'm sure that is an unfathomable feeling, and it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at that, it's worth it. But at the same time, you have to remember, like, you're bringing life into the world and you have to sacrifice for that.
Yeah, and they're legally your responsibility.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you could legally give up responsibility as well. So that's the hard part about having children.
The
right?
adoption process.
That's another.
That is something that can go deep.
Honestly, I'm just looking at getting a text back, so like we should probably not talk about children.
Who you texting?
Nobody. I'm just waiting. Nobody texts me. Dating is really hard. You don't. I wish you guys could see this. He literally just looked at me and just like dropped his arms in defeat.
Dating is even harder for a man. And
Why do you think that?
Because look,
I never get asked out ever.
A woman.
So
I've heard women say this, so this is not coming from me. I'm quoting that if you're not dating, you're not trying hard enough.
To you or to me?
Like
to women or people in
women
general?
have said that about women, not about you personally.
That is so offensive.
Because
yeah.
And here's the example I give.
I'm offended.
That's okay. If I were to walk up on a stage of 100 people,
Okay.
I'd be like, first person up here wants to have sex with me, we're gonna go do it. Guaranteed. I would be surprised if one person came running up.
Okay.
If a woman did, if you did, you're like, hey, everybody, first person up here is gonna have sex with me. Go. Rush to the stage. Because
But it's not about sex.
no,
all the time.
you're right. So finding a relationship is hard for both.
It's hard for me, so hard.
For me, dating and finding a relationship and love is two totally different things.
Yeah.
Women have a much easier time
Getting laid.
getting a date.
I don't know about that because I'm very like traditional in the sense that like I want to be wooed. I don't want to ask you out.
Oh, gender roles.
No, yeah, but the thing is, I want that. I would love that because I'm such a powerful, strong woman. I need someone to be like, this is what we're doing. And I'm like, thank God I don't have to make this decision today.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just like exhausted. Like one point in my life, I want to like just be like surprised. Like just let me live.
I'm traditionalist too,
yeah.
where I think people should make effort and special gestures and
No, ask me out. Like if you in person or call me. You know what I mean? Just
ooh,
like
a call.
I love talking on the
That
phone.
shit does not happen anymore.
Actually, I talk to people on the phone all the time. I'm super weird though.
A guy will call you.
Yep.
He's doing that because he wants you. He's not comfortable doing that. I promise.
Really? Oh my gosh. He's old though. He's 30.
Only talking to a 30-year-old.
True.
Oh.
Everyone else just thinks I'm too smart and too cool, and I'm so awesome.
That's not vain.
That's the point. I'm being sarcastic.
I
was like,
come
that's
across.
why. That's why they don't ask me.
But
out.
like for me, oh my god, and especially online dating. So there's two things
Oh, God.
to being a guy in dating. The big thing is women don't message first. Even on Bumble.
By the way, I joined Bumble. No matches for 3 weeks. I'm deleting the app.
Oh my god, welcome to my life.
I haven't had any matches on
That's
Bumble
crazy.
in 3 weeks.
I'm actually surprised because I've seen women with like 500 plus matches.
Okay, Tinder, everybody matches me, but Bumble, nobody does. And I'm like, it's because I'm weird. It's
But you can't tell that in a profile.
probably. It says death is imminent. Yeah,
That
that's what
guy's
I'm
like,
saying.
yeah, no. Yeah, the guy's like, ooh.
Too deep. Too deep. Some of them don't understand what it means. They're like, haha, it's so dark. Just like, okay.
I mean, I would swipe for sure on that. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's awesome.
Honestly, like, and I was like I think my Bumble bio is let's talk about our mutual hates.
I mean, yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah,
But-
because that's stronger than
So,
loves.
but a lot of women want men to do all the work, right? And mostly because women
do.
have a lot more choice.
yeah,
And a lot of the time, if I ask a question to a woman, this happens all the time. So I'm like, what do you do for a living? As an example, all they do is be like, government.
oh, it's super boring.
Yeah. I'm like, and before I'd be like,
Do you ever think that like some women are just super boring? Some men are super boring.
I mean, I'm honestly of the opinion that women are boring now.
Oh my god, I'm of the opinion too that men are boring.
And
now.
I hear that all the time. And it's so weird because I'm like, no, talk to me.
Do you know
I'll
why?
talk to you
Because we
about
don't
anything.
talk to each other in person.
We have been talking for over an hour about just anything
This
that
is
comes
me on
up
the
our
phone as
mind.
per usual. This is what I
That's
sound like
basically
on
what
the
we're
phone.
talking about. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I can talk. I have no problem
Oh
talking.
yeah,
You want
I can
me to
talk as well. But you know what? Honestly, I also do like you are kind of right in the sense that if like I wanted to date somebody, I would be dating somebody because I have extreme commitment issues because of my parents, and it scares me, and I don't want to let anybody down. And like I do like being alone because I like experiencing some things alone. You're talking about Henry Rollins on your other podcast, and I love him.
Love Henry Rollins.
Black Flag. He has this quote that I just love so much, and he goes, "Loneliness adds a certain beauty to life. You know, it puts a certain burn on sunsets and makes night air smell better." And it does.
That guy, man, he's so poetic.
I know.
Because he's
so
alone all the
broken.
time.
He's so broken, though. But that's it. I don't think he is broken, though.
Well, wait,
But, like, why-
the quote I heard him say, which actually he inspired me to do this.
He's definitely
podcast.
depressed.
Yeah, but what he said, he's like, I keep myself so busy so I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, he does, and he's afraid of medication, so he's on that. So he's like, I just work real hard.
Yeah.
So I don't have time to feel bad.
And he does things he loves. And you know what? Have you ever watched Rick and Morty?
No,
it's a great show. It's a lot to watch. There's a lot of episodes, and it's kind of like sometimes overwhelming. But there's just one scene where I forget what it is. Morty is like talking to his sister, and she just found out that she was in an accident or something, and she's like really upset and really sad. And Morty goes, "Oh my God, like you're never gonna be perfect. It's gonna be overwhelming. Everything's gonna suck, and we're all gonna die. But you know what? Like, do you want to just watch TV with me?" And like that's really paraphrasing the quote, but it's something like that. And it's kind of like, yes, there's all this overwhelming stuff everywhere that is so incomprehensible, and we can't even fathom it half the time. And there's all these big questions about why we are here and why we exist. But at the end of the day, it's the little things like this podcast that are worth living, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And like just drinking coffee and enjoying the little things.
I was going to bring some beers, but you know.
I can't drive and drink. I'm like one and done.
Wee!
Like one and done.
But yeah, and then the other part of dating too is I'm also so nervous that someone is going to misconstrue my intentions and like accuse me of
okay, that's a total fear that I've heard also. So that's why I think you guys don't ask us out. Yeah,
it's like super bad to say, but if I just saw you walking down the street and I'm like, wow, she's so beautiful. I'm going to ask for a number.
Would they be creeped out and like,
and I'm going to try to be as polite as possible. I'm not going to come up like, "Sup, girl?" Like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
like, hi, excuse me. Like, I'm sorry for bothering you. I just want you to know, like, try to do it in this, because I'm not super confident talking to women, unless I know them or getting to know them, but like just out of the blue, it's nerve-wracking. But I'm so worried she's going to think I'm creepy, like, get angry or offended or like think that I'm like,
I know,
and I'm like no, I just really wanted to know your name.
I totally understand your fear. I think I can give you some advice, because I often feel frustrated when this happens. So for example, you're an acquaintance of mine and you're like, hey, you want to hang out? Okay, I go into that hangout thinking, oh my God, is this a date? How do I deal with this? I
never say let's hang out.
Yeah, you need to be specific, like this is a date. Like, really you were either, like, I'm not trying to be your friend vibes, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because you have enough friends. Like, you want a date. Be like, no, like, I'm not trying to be your friend. Like, I like you. You're cute. I want to take you out. Like, I think that is really important in this day and age, because so many people are afraid of rejection and they sugarcoat it. Like, hang out in group settings. Hate that. Despise that. One-on-one only. First time meeting. Yeah. Another one is, like, stop by. Swing by. Swing by this if you're free. It's not like if, like, they're just all these ways to word questions to kind of mitigate like the pain of rejection.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to navigate as a female, because you're like, do they even like me?
Yeah. In my early 20s, I was definitely like, do you want to hang out? Like, but I'm very direct now. I will just literally, I'm like, hey, I know this is really random, but I got a crush on you, and if you want to go out for a drink, I'd really like to take you out.
That's good.
Let me know if you're interested. Never works. 0%. I haven't had a date since...
Maybe it's Ottawa.
I've heard that, because when I go to Toronto, like, at least I know Tinder's working, because I actually get matches. Like, I don't know what it is. I think it's just me. Like, I honestly, my self-esteem for dating is, like, just destroyed.
Yeah, I feel pretty bad, too.
Like, I'm just like, no one wants me, no one likes me.
Like, don't you feel better knowing it's happening to everybody?
We're all in this trash mess together.
We're all gonna be single lonely forever.
I mean, yes and no, but like, I just want to get to know people, and I don't want you to be boring, and I just find people are so boring. They don't have interest, or their generic interest. They're like, I like to travel. Is that your identity?
You're like, tell me how your relationship with your parents are. Like, what's your biggest fear? Who do you hate right now? Like, and who's the office bitch?
If you try that too soon,
it's weird, I guess.
Yeah, people think it's weird.
I had one guy say, he's like, why is this an interrogation? And I was like, oh,
I've had that too.
Honestly, I was so annoyed.
And she's like, if I can give you some advice, don't come on so strong. I'm like, delete.
Who cares?
And like, yeah,
I don't get it.
If it doesn't work, just be like, not interested.
It's good that it happens right away then. But he was literally like, why are you interrogating me? I was like, why are you making fun of the way I drink? This is how men flirt? Okay. Like, when people are super sarcastic, or just the mic, people are super, like, men are super sarcastic and be like, ooh, like, oh, your sweater fits you so strange.
Oh my God.
I can't even give examples of how weird.
But do you think it's because they're also...
They have no idea how to flirt.
Or potentially worried that something... that's a really weird flirt. Would never...
No, but like, the sarcastic flirt where they make fun of you? Okay, well, clearly you don't because
I know I've done that.
You've probably done it to women, but it happens to me often.
Not unless I know them. When I know them, I'll make fun of them.
I think it's an insecurity though. Like they think it worked in elementary school or high school, and then they just carry it forward into adulthood. And you're like, actually, like I'm really comfortable as a human being, and like your put downs just make me despise you.
Yeah, I don't do that unless I know them.
But it's not even like a one-time joke. It's consistently throughout the night. It's happened multiple dates I've been on.
Oh yeah, I would try. If like we were in a relationship, I would definitely like I like to make fun of like
different though.
I like to make fun of jean jackets.
Yeah,
but that's not date specific. That's to everybody, men, women.
Yeah.
If I see you wearing a jean jacket, I just want to say something.
I've been wearing jean jackets for literally like 17 years.
I'm not necessarily trying to be mean. I'm not being like I actually don't wear it. It's awful or anything. Like if you want to wear it and you Ryan, shut up. That's cool. Awesome. But like. I just think it's fun. Like you gotta have a little bit of fun banter. Like you could come at me and be like, Ryan, I hate that you wear a black V-neck a lot. I'm like, yeah, I could. I'm like, I do. I like it.
I don't know.
It shows off my
it's gonna be interesting how the next 10 years of our lives rolls out.
Oh God.
It's going by very fast.
I'm just hoping that someone who's always like me hears this podcast right now
and is just like infatuated and be like, I love him.
Message me, because if literally
same message me.
No, me first. But like
they're bi. They're like I can't choose.
And that's I especially find women never take. I shouldn't say never, but it's much less often that they would take the chance to tell a guy that they like them.
I don't want to. It makes me nervous.
It makes the guy nervous.
To be honest,
well, actually, there's guys who'll just do it. Like they're just like they don't give a shit. They're just like, "What's up, honey?" Like, whoa.
Yeah, they're so confident because they have nothing to offer. They're like, "I'm gonna get rejected a lot, so let's go."
I heard one.
It's like the game of odds.
There's a person that was like, "This is pretty This is pretty like profound, like as in profanity, profane." He said he would go walk around the bar, asking women, and this is sexual harassment for sure. But he would be like, do you want to do anal tonight?
Oh my God.
And he's like 99 out of 100 women would slap me, splash.
But there's that one girl.
There's the one, and all you need is the one.
Yeah.
You just need the one.
I hate bars for that reason though. Like I hate grinding. I hate when people come up and try and dance with me without asking. Ugh.
Even in life, right? Like no matter how you flirt or how you interact with people, like guys are assholes probably for some reason. I don't know what that reason is because I try not to be.
I think people like assholes though.
They do.
They're dramatic.
It has to work.
I think people like drama. That's why they like assholes.
They definitely do.
My boyfriend beat me up. Oh, I like him. I mean, that's not a good example because that's abuse. But I may be like, oh, my boyfriend said I look fat today.
Like to me,
they love it.
I hear that, I'm like, what?
Yeah, I know. I would be like, this is gonna stick with me for like 17 weeks and never go.
I would never say that. I don't even like swearing in front of women.
Oh, I love swearing in front of everybody.
Well,
which is a probably
I can swear in front of you.
Is that a turn off for men?
It depends. Okay. I think we're speaking in generalities, but again, it always comes up to the individual. I just have a harder time finding women that are cool and like to talk about weird shit with me.
I know. I think it is definitely.
And then unless I'm in the friend zone with them, and then like that's fine.
I guess. I'm just kidding.
Bruh.
Yeah, but we're friends. We've always been friends. I don't think you ever pursued. Yeah. Because we work together. It'd be too weird.
I don't. I'm not.
Like the process where you meet women is also kind of how you're ever gonna have them in your life.
Yeah, and like the way I flirt is. Like I'm friends.
Yeah, stop that.
But like that's who I am. I'm just friendly. Just like let's shoot the shit. Let's talk. What do you need? I'll be there to help you. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like that's who I am. So I don't want to not be who I am to try to woo somebody. But like if I like you and we're dating, like there was an instance where one of the girls like in passing like was just like I really like the Tonight Show Ben and Jerry's ice cream or something. And she mentioned this when we first started dating. And then for Valentine's Day I showed up with a tub. She's like, how did you remember? I'm like, because you said it.
Oh my God, that is the key to our hearts, reminding.
Yeah.
We say that stuff so you remember.
Yeah.
We're like, I'm going to drop this subtle hint and see if he remembers.
Well, she was like having a bad day and she loved this chocolate bar.
Oh, that means so much.
So I bought a pack of the mini chocolate bars.
Little stuff is everything. I'm such a firm believer in the little stuff.
I can never get to that point because they're either not interested or, hey, I just really want to be friends.
I also think you're dating younger women and I think that's a struggle because they don't want to commit. They want to just flooze around. Which is true. Like I was like that. I was like, I don't want a boyfriend. I want to experience the world.
Yeah.
Which is like wink, wink.
And guys in your 20s just want to do everything that moves.
Okay, this is my biggest fear when it comes to dating, okay? If I date someone my own age, I am so positive they are going to leave me for someone younger.
Really?
Yeah.
At your age?
Yeah, so if I start dating someone now and we're like really committed and like 7 years down the road, I'm looking old. They're looking old. But men age better than women, definitely. So you have that going for you. So they're going to start looking for younger chicks, right? Because younger women date older men all the time. Yeah. Like even like 5 years difference. And I know for a fact I would get left for a hotter chick because it's so easy to find them.
Yeah.
That is a genuine fear of mine where I'm like, might as well wait. Might as well date older dudes. I'm that girl that they're leaving them for right now. The current cycle's already happening.
But yeah, that cycle continues because I try to go for women my own age and there's never any interest. The only people who are interested in me are younger women.
You should try older women.
I've been with a couple older women.
But they want kids. Can you give them kids right now? No.
If she has a good job.
If you be the sugar mama.
Yeah, because on my salary, I can't afford kids.
Right? No one can.
That kid's going to get $40.
I don't know how people afford children. I literally can't even afford myself.
Yeah, but, I mean, I've been with older women. I've been with younger women. I've been with women my own age. I mean, I've recognized just haven't found the right one. But
honestly, it's hard.
It's easier to get younger women.
You know what my dad told me? But I think he just wants me to, find a boyfriend because he's worried about me. He's just like, honey, there is no right one. Just choose.
I've heard that before.
Like, what?
Just pick one.
Just pick one, honey. My dad is genuinely concerned, like, I'm going to end up alone.
My mom asks me all the time, are you dating anyone? I'm like, she's like, any dates? No. She's like, jeez.
Jeez, it's hard out there. Are your parents happily married? No? Yes?
For the most part.
Okay, that's good. Sorry, I didn't mean to ask a weird question.
I'm trying to figure out how to answer it.
Okay.
For the most part, yes.
Okay, that's good.
But I was the reason they married.
Okay.
I don't know if there was no me, if they'd be married.
Yeah.
And I know they're probably going to listen, and I love you guys, but you fight a lot.
Yeah.
And you're petty, and you argue about things that don't need to be argued about.
Yeah, but isn't that marriage? I heard that's what marriage is.
Oh, I don't have time to think about that conflict. Like, I'm not going to argue about you not...
Do you want to know what the number one reason for divorce is? The number one reason for divorce is actually how you raise your children. Like, they disagree. It's not money. People always think it's money. It's how you raise your kids.
You should really, talk that out beforehand.
Right? This is so funny. Literally, parents don't even, talk about what school. Public, Catholic. That's a big discussion. Circumcision, yay or nay. That's a big decision. People literally don't talk about this stuff. Then they get married, and they're like...
Yeah.
Oh shit, I married the worst person I've ever met. There's
been 2 people I've had to break up with because of religious differences.
Really? Like, it was bad?
One was bad.
I'm so intrigued.
One was bad. Like, they would make fun of me because I believe in evolution, and she was
Whoa.
I would be having problems or mental health issues. They're like, you just need to talk to God. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is
Dear Jesus.
The other one
Jesus.
The other one was fine. But we recognize that I'm not going to church. I support that, but
yeah.
And when I have kids, if they choose to go on their own free will, I will allow them because it is their life. But I don't want them institutionalized in that and brought up with that, thinking that's the only way. Mm-hmm. My parents are kind of do that with my kids now. They're in the Catholic school system because it's a better education system. And I was like, I don't agree with it because I don't want them being brought up thinking that Catholicism is the only answer, the only way. And they're going to think that until they get to about 18, and then they're going to totally despise it.
Catholicism?
Yeah. Every person I know who's super anti-religion grew up in a Catholic school.
Same. I'm not anti-religion. I'm anti-theology, I think.
I find it fascinating. I love the history of it. I support the community.
I know. I'm not anti anything. I'm just I don't care. I don't enforce your stuff on me. That's what I hate.
That goes without saying for anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
For me, I'm I don't care.
If I don't want to be a vegan, stop telling me that I have to convert. We're not going to talk about that. That's just exhausting to me.
Oh my God. There's just so much.
Can you imagine if we didn't I don't know. I'm not even going to say.
What?
I love bringing up the argument. It's just do you really think chickens would still be here if we didn't raise them to eat? Do people really think that cows and chickens still be here? Let's think about it for a second.
They're on their own?
Yeah, a chicken literally needs a house. You literally need a house for your chicken and a fence because things will eat them.
There's wild chickens.
Yeah, sure they are. Sure.
In the Caribbean there is.
Okay, but that's an island where there's no predators. I'm talking about in Canada and stuff.
Well, so I'm not an expert on this, but
I genuinely believe they would have been dead.
It's apparently like a lot of like hunting and killing animals is actually good. And again, I don't know firsthand on this, but it's good for the population and for the ecosystem because
that's why there's hunting seasons, because they get over controlled, like rabbits and stuff.
Or deer overpopulate too much of the vegetation, or
exactly.
bears or wolves. Like apparently it's good for, and also the hunting licenses pay for the conservation.
Yeah, the conservation. It's a really interesting system, and it's like hunting. I don't think a lot of people. You know what? A lot of people do disagree with hunting. I'm not a fan of trophy hunting. Like,
yeah, no.
I'm like I'm Métis, so I grew up like with my grandfather, a hunter and fisherman, and he really taught us to respect the land, and he lived off the land all of his life, and he was a hunter as well, and he never took anything from the earth without asking for it, and like really using it and utilizing it, and it was his livelihood, and he really, he didn't take any of it for granted. Which I think is the difference between hunting for your life and then the trophy hunting.
You see the animal, you watch it, it's like an intimate experience almost.
Yeah, like you thank the creator for giving you that animal.
Yeah, like we're so disillusioned with factory farming, which is the real and mass agriculture. That's the problem.
It's not eating meat, it's the mass consumption of meat.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's where you see the horrific treatment of animals in those documentaries.
And like I don't like seeing that. It's rough.
And it goes to the same fact with like,
but I'm a hypocrite
with like vegetarians and vegans who are buying soy or something that's mass produced. Guess how many animals
or palm oil
get killed like harvesting that. You think those tractors are stopping for little bunny rabbits and birds?
No, it's like we're a problem. Like humans are an invasive species.
Yeah,
we are.
They destroy the ecosystems, and with all that, it's not about hunting. If everyone just hunted for their food.
Oh, well, there's definitely not enough for that now.
Not
we're
anymore.
Too big,
no,
that's why we need to. But we throw out so much food too, so we're just screwed up all around. We're so screwed. We're so screwed.
There should be no reason there should be world hunger.
But like, let's just watch TV, like Morty said. Let's just stop talking about world hunger.
We need to talk about the and solve these issues. No, there's too many problems
in this
too many
world.
Issues to think.
And you know what? Even when you try to solve them, like I remember I was really for the anti-straw campaign. Like even before I blew up with Starbucks, I was going around to local businesses for World Oceans Day and asking them to convert to like to zero straws or paper straws. And the amount of hate I got was insane. The disabled argument came up, and of course my mom is disabled, which a lot of people didn't know. And I was like, of course this is important. My mom uses a straw because she can't drink and drive. Like it's like drink drinks, you know what I mean? And like she uses it on a daily basis as well, and there's lots of people that need it, and there is resources available to them. You can buy plastic straws that are reusable, blah blah blah, and if you need a disposable one for whatever reason, they're still going to exist. And people were telling me like, you want to make their lives I was like, I can't win, and it's like I get the straws are such a small thing, and like there's a ton of pollution in the ocean, but the reason that straws were important was because you can't recycle straws. They fall through the recycling and they end up in the water system, and that's how they get into the lakes and the oceans, and they literally break down into small particles, and people ingest them. Animals, wildlife, marine life ingest them, and they get really sick. So that's why straws were the main one, and then all other single-use plastic items are to follow, right? So it's just not, you want to get away from that. And you know what? I'm also not targeting specific individuals. I'm talking about as a whole. Like when I got Starbucks for today, did we need straws? No.
Even plastic bottles are not great.
They're not great, but you can recycle them, so that's okay. But it was just disheartening because I was like, I just tried, like I just wanted people to like,
No matter what you do, there's always going to be people who oppose and
I know
and don't agree, or like that'll. Both the most awful and most beautiful thing about humans is everyone's different and has their own thought. So I mean, for that thing, I'm much more holistic in my thinking, where I know the point that the straws are making, but I'm like, that's the least of what we should be focusing on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's tackle the things we can tackle, and the most major. So I guess you can make an argument that's something we can tackle. So there you go. I just answered my own question, but. The things that are making the most serious impact, and like let's get rid of like cancer, mental health.
I know, it's so hard.
World hunger, that's an easy solvable issue. Like there's things that we can like, okay, let's all focus on that instead of like focusing on like toys for tots or making sure kids have pencils for school. Like every charity and initiative has its merit, but like we really need to like we're spreading ourselves too thin with our resources, our limited resources and money and financial donations as it is. Like, let's all pull it together. And get a
BC
cure
is
for
literally
cancer.
burning to the ground right now.
Yeah. Have you seen the
Talk
pictures
about
of like
that.
Calgary and Edmonton? And
It's so insane. My friend from Winnipeg, Manitoba, the sky is covered in smoke. Winnipeg.
are we supposed
That's
to get
right
it from?
there.
Are we supposed to get it here? Is it supposed to travel that far?
I don't know.
Makes you
We'll
think though,
see.
like if like
It's like, it looks like an apocalypse.
that's a forest fire, but if like a major volcanic eruption or
We'd all be dead.
a meteor, like that's what happens, right? Like
It
you
blocks
get
out the
that
sun.
cloud,
It gets cold.
and the vegetation and the animals die.
Everything dies. We die.
And like it's just an example of like what could happen in an instant, and it's scary.
It's so scary.
Nature's scary, man.
Nature is scary, and you gotta respect it. Respect nature.
Anyway, we've been going for an hour and a half.
I have to go soon anyway, so you can.
Perfect. Is that 30-year-old?
What?
Did that 30-year-old text you?
No. He didn't.
Jeff. Is that Getty Lee
Damn
on your phone
you,
or is
Jeff.
that Cher?
No, that's Cher, and
Oh.
it says, "Mother told me a couple years ago, sweetheart, settle down and marry a rich man." And I said, "Mom, I am a rich man."
Ooh, my brother would love you. Anyways, Clarissa Baron, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much. For
it.
having
Where can
me.
people follow you?
You can follow me on literally everything at Clarissa Baron on Twitter. Yeah, and
Easy to say.
at Clarissa Baron 93 on Instagram.
Do you have anything like going on? Any protests?
No protest. Just be kind and think before you speak, and think about your life and your decisions you make, and that's about it.
This is a deep conversation.
No,
I really
it's
liked
just
it.
be kind, you know.
Yeah. No, this was a deep conversation.
Oh, the
though.
whole yeah,
It was deep. I really
it was
liked
deep.
it.
That's my whole life.
We'll
though.
talk on the phone though. All right. Good night. Talk to everybody soon.
Bye,
Cheers.
everyone.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Welcome to Life in Red.